na ri 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 na 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 ra na ta ra na na ta da na 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 ra na na ra 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 na ra na na ra na na ta ri na na ra na ta na na ra na.
Hello and welcome back to Raaga Rasika. This is a podcast program that explores the world of Carnatic music. I'm your host, Devesh Satyavolu. Joining us from Albany, New York is Vidya. Hello, Vidya.
Hi, Devesh. I look forward to today's episode as always.
When we started off this series of podcasts, we mentioned that we would actually spend some time with you to get to know about you. We'd love to know more about your passion for Carnatic music and where you learned it, your experience teaching about Carnatic music. But before we get to all of that, tell us a little bit about yourself, Vidya.
I was born and raised in Chennai, which is in the state of Tamil Nadu in South India. It's a coastal city. It's one of the large metropolises in India. I did my schooling in PS Senior Secondary School. I'm a chartered accountant by training. I came to the United States in the year 2000 to do my master's, my MBA. I went to Boston College and I got an MBA in finance. I also qualified as a chartered financial analyst. I worked for about 3 years in financial consulting. I held a number of different positions in Los Angeles and also in Albany, New York.
Is CA the equivalent of what we in America we call CPA?
Roughly so, yes. Except that the actual way in which you get the qualification is a little different. I would say the chartered accountancy is probably better known in the Commonwealth countries. You know, it is more of a British system. So we have 3 levels of examinations and we concurrently do an internship for about a 3-year time frame in an audit or accounting firm. So that way it is different. The CPA is like a one-shot exam and then you go and get the experience. Whereas in the chartered accountancy course, we kind of do it simultaneously. And it's a very rigorous process in which one gets qualified as a chartered accountant. It's quite well respected, I would say, in the Commonwealth countries.
Fascinating. Now let's get to what we are most focused on, Carnatic music. Tell us about how you got into this art. Tell us a little bit about your experience learning it and so on.
Typically in South India, most families have some inclination or exposure to the classical music and dance. So it's very common that families send their kids, especially the girls, to dance and music lessons in childhood. And that's how my parents got me interested. We listened to classical music at home. We attended concerts.
It's quite familiar, in fact, the story you're telling, which is parents and family members interested in Carnatic music take their children to nearby concerts. Some of them are really good quality, some of them are okay quality, but you slowly, as a kid, you slowly start getting exposed to Carnatic music. You start hearing very familiar and popular songs, and slowly but steadily you get to establish a catalog of songs that you remember, and each time an artist sings those songs you are able to appreciate it more because you've heard it before, and that's how sort of from an appreciation of Carnatic music standpoint it kind of begins. How did you make the transition from an appreciation standpoint to actually learning Carnatic music itself, Vidya?
I think in my case, they kind of happened simultaneously. Like I started going to concerts from a very early age, and I also started learning music formally from when I was 3 years old. So it was kind of a simultaneous reinforcement, and I always emphasize this idea to all my students. You can't learn music in isolation. It's not enough if you send your kid to a class. I mean, they need to get exposed to live concerts, because what happens at these concerts is that you get to listen to so many tidbits of information that your mind assimilates, sometimes consciously and sometimes subconsciously. Like you mentioned earlier, if you listen to the same song a number of times and somebody tells you, okay, this is Kalyani Raga, the person is singing Nidhi Chala Sukama. After the 10th time, you're bound to know that when somebody sings Nidhi Chala Sukama, they are singing Kalyani. And what eventually happens is that when a person sings another song with a similar tune, then your mind starts to think, is this Kalyani again? And chances are it is. And sometimes you may go wrong when it's a raga that is close to Kalyani, but that's exactly the way your mind starts identifying ragas. And it's difficult to get that perspective from a classroom, because in a music class, you're typically focused on learning more songs and compositions and training your voice, but the listening component is equally, if not more important. And just to give you a quick example, I was mentioning the song Nidhi Chala Sukama and Kalyani, and it goes like this. Nidhi Chala Sukama Ramuni Sanidhi Seva Sukama. So if you've listened to Nidhi Chala Sukama half a dozen times and you go to a concert where somebody sings Bajare re chita balambika, then if you have familiarized yourself with Nidhi Chala Sukama to an extent, then your mind will start to ask you, okay, is this song also Kalyani? And if there is a friend or a more senior listener sitting beside you, you can always check with them. And that's one very important way to increase your understanding and appreciation of Carnatic music.
So, several questions here, Vidya. First, was it Kalyani?
Yes, they are both songs in Kalyani Raga, right? The first one, Nidhi Chala Sukama, is a Tyagaraja composition, and the second one, Bajre Rechita Balambika, is a Muthuswami Dikshitar composition.
Okay, so these are two different songs composed and written by two different people, but are set to the same raga, which we will get to separately in a different episode. This is fascinating. Vidya, why don't we do this? Let's stop here and pick up again next time where we left off. To learn more about Vidya, visit her online at www.vidyasubramanian.com. Thank you all for joining us today. I would love to hear from you. Please write to us at www.raagarasika.com. Hope to see you again next time. Goodbye.
Ra